This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. Good morning, I'm John Trout. It's Wednesday, September 3rd, 2025. Here's what's coming up on America in the Morning.
A bipartisan effort to put every House member on record when it comes to the Epstein files.
This is about justice.
I'm Rich Johnson.
President Trump announces a relocation for Space Force and promises National Guard troops are coming to Chicago. I'm John Stolnis in Washington.
A baby found dead in a closet, and a college cheerleader in Kentucky charged. I'm Clayton Neville.
Stocks opened September trading with a pullback on worries that tariff money might have to be paid back. I'm Jessica Ettinger.
Senate Republicans are facing a second unexpected retirement as they try to hold their majority. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
A murder charge in Houston, ding-dong ditch death, and misbelief peering into a White House window. All ahead on America in the Morning. As Congress returned to work Tuesday, House Oversight Committee members heard from several of the victims of Jeffrey Epstein and Gislaine Maxwell, and House members on both sides of the aisle are demanding a vote to release all of the Epstein files. But at the same time, the clock is ticking on a potential government shutdown. Correspondent Rich Johnson reports.
Jeffrey Epstein is dead, but his hurt and his harm is alive and well.
Massachusetts Democrat Ayanna Pressley speaking to reporters after hearing from some of the victims of Jeffrey Epstein in a closed-door session of the House Oversight Committee. Pressley said it is very much worth lawmakers' time to listen to those women because
this is a matter of life and death. Because Virginia Jeffrey took her life after decades of failure, and there are victims that can no longer come forward because they're in a fetal position, so broken by the weight of what they've been carrying, shame that they've been carrying when it is not their shame to carry.
Shortly after she and other Democrats spoke, the Republican chair of the Oversight Committee, James Comer, released more than 33,000 pages of Epstein-related records the panel received from the Justice Department. But lawmakers from both parties want every one of their colleagues on record about Epstein. House Speaker Mike Johnson has opposed a full House vote, but Kentucky Republican Thomas Massie and California Democrat Ro Khanna have introduced a discharge petition, which would force such a vote to release all the files.
This is not about Donald Trump, and it's not partisan. This is about justice for the victims of rich and powerful men who abused underage girls.
Khanna's comment courtesy of Fox News. He says at least a dozen Republicans have signed on with the 212 House Democrats to support the discharge petition. Meanwhile, House and Senate members must pass some sort of federal budget or a continuing resolution by September 30th. Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries said he's had a discussion with Speaker Johnson about moving forward, but
we will not support a partisan spending bill put forward by Republicans that hurts everyday Americans.
New York Republican Nicole Maliotakis told Bloomberg News that will complicate things.
The reality is that we would have difficulty putting forward individual appropriation bills without the Democrat support, and that's because of the Senate requirement for 60 votes. And we know that there are a slew of Republicans, unfortunately, who will not support any type of continuing resolution.
Also complicating matters, the federal fiscal year ends September 30th, but Congress is scheduled to be in session for just 15 days this month. I'm Richard Johnson.
On Tuesday, President Trump announced Space Command was being relocated and responded to questions about violent crime in Chicago, a military strike on a boat carrying drugs out of Venezuela, and rumors of the weekend online that he had died. John Stolnis has a recap from Washington.
President Trump created the fifth branch of the military during his first term in office. Its headquarters were established in Colorado by President Biden, but the president announced it will be moved to
Huntsville, Alabama, forever to be known from this point forward as Rocket City. Okay, so Huntsville, Alabama, we love Alabama. I only won it by about 47 points. I don't think that influenced my decision, though, right? That didn't, right?
One of the reasons for the change, according to Trump, was over Colorado's voting system.
Colorado, the problem I have with Colorado, one of the big problems, they do mail-in voting. They went to all mail-in voting. So they have automatically crooked elections. And we can't have that. When a state is for mail-in voting, that means they want dishonest elections because that's what that means. So that played a big factor also.
Colorado's congressional delegation put out a statement saying moving Space Force, quote, sets our space defense apparatus back years, wastes billions of taxpayer dollars, and hands the advantage to China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea. The president also discussed violent crime in Chicago and his ongoing feud with Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker over Pritzker's refusal to allow National Guard troops to his state.
There's no place in the world, including you can go to Afghanistan, you can go to places that you would think of. They don't even come close to this. Chicago is a hellhole right now. Baltimore is a hellhole right now.
Trump says he's not backing down.
Well, we're going in. I didn't say when. We're going in. When you lose, look, I have an obligation. This isn't a political thing.
Also, Trump told reporters the U.S. carried out a strike on a drug-carrying vessel out of Venezuela.
We have a lot of drugs pouring into our country, coming in for a long time. And we just, these came out of Venezuela and coming out very heavily from Venezuela. A lot of things are coming out of Venezuela, so we took it out.
And after a quiet number of days without a public appearance, the president was asked by reporters if he was aware there were rumors online over the weekend that he had died.
And then I didn't do any for 2 days, and they said there must be something wrong with him. Biden wouldn't do them for months. You wouldn't see him.
John Stolnis, Washington.
The top stories of the day are sponsored by Sleep Number. It's the biggest sale of the year. All beds are on sale. Limited time, only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com. Doorbell prank turns deadly. When America in the Morning continues after these messages. You're with America in the Morning and an always evolving national forecast. Here's AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton with the Wednesday outlook.
In the wake of a potent cold front crossing the plains and Great Lakes today, a blustery and cool Wednesday is in store from Iowa and eastern Nebraska through much of the Dakotas and as far east as the upper peninsula of Michigan. Within this zone, widespread highs in just the 50s and 60s will be 10 to 20 degrees below historical averages for most, and a lingering piece of energy behind the front will lead to the chance for showers in the vast majority of this zone as well. Just as a reminder, yes, it is still summer, but these conditions will very much mark a fall preview. In fact, lows Thursday morning should settle in the 30s and 40s with the risk for frost from northern Wisconsin to central and northern Minnesota. On the warm side of the front, thunderstorms will be more prevalent from northwestern Indiana to central Illinois, but to the south and west of there, from central Missouri to north-central Oklahoma, those storms will have enough energy to bring the risk for severe weather very late today and into the evening with gusty winds and even some hail. The Northeast and much of the East Coast in general has another dry, if not rather nice day in store for today, but showers and thunderstorms become more likely through West Virginia and Southwest right from there through to Louisiana, with a separate zone of enhanced coverage over the Florida Peninsula. Otherwise, at least some spotty afternoon thunderstorms return to the southwest today and parts of western Oregon as well, as interior portions of the northwest face another day of intense heat with highs up to 20 degrees above historical averages. In Kansas City, any patchy morning fog leads to clouds and a gusty afternoon thunderstorm today, perhaps severe with hail and a high of 83. For Olmec, Washington, Tuesday's record-tying heat gives way to sizzling sun. The high of 106 would smash 1988's record of 102. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
Remember to follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Listen on your preferred platform when you simply search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. SWAT teams and police ascended on the home of a Houston man who was arrested following the shooting of an 11-year-old boy after a doorbell prank turned deadly. As correspondent Julie Walker reports, the man now faces murder charges for shooting the child in the back.
Houston police say 42-year-old Gonzalo Leon Jr. has been charged with murder in the fatal shooting of an 11-year-old boy after a prank in which he rang the doorbell of a home and ran away. They say Julian Guzman had been ringing doorbells in East Houston Saturday, a prank known as ding-dong ditching. According to police, a witness says the suspect came out of the door, ran out into the street, and was firing down the road. This is not the first time the prank has turned deadly. In 2023, a California man was convicted of murder for killing 3 teen boys by intentionally ramming their car after they rang his doorbell as a prank. And in May, a Virginia man was charged with second-degree murder for shooting an 18-year-old. I'm Julie Walker.
A college student cheerleader at the University of Kentucky is facing criminal charges after the body of an infant was found dead in a closet. Correspondent Clayton Neville reports.
21-year-old Lakin Snelling is on the University of Kentucky competitive cheer stunt team. She's facing charges related to an infant being found dead at a home in Lexington. The baby was deceased when officers got to the house late last month, reportedly found in a trash bag in a closet. Snelling appeared in court on Tuesday and was released on a $100,000 bond. Her charges include tampering with physical evidence and abuse of a corpse. She's said to be ordered on house arrest at her parents' house, which is hundreds of miles away from Lexington, where she was arrested and jailed. I'm Clayton Neville.
Coming up next on America in the Morning, hear from McDonald's CEO on why prices are changing at the fast food giant. After these messages. Thanks for listening. This is America in the Morning. Here's the Wednesday Business Report with CNBC's Jessica Ettinger.
Wall Street opens this morning after a pullback for stocks to start this new month of September over fears that if the Trump tariffs are illegal, the U.S. might have to refund all that money that's been collected. The Dow was down about 250 points. The NASDAQ had its first back-to-back losing days since the April sell-off when President Trump announced the tariffs.
In September, we all know it's historically a weak time of year for the markets overall. We're in an overbought market, so it's not surprising to see some weakness this month as investors reassess things and come back to reality, so to speak. But if you look back historically at these positive summers, more than 1%, 4 months in a row, September was mixed. The rest of the year was continued higher.
That's Bespoke's Paul Hickey on CNBC. Gold, often a safe haven for investors worried about stocks, hit a new intraday all-time high yesterday of $3,578 an ounce. A court did rule that the Trump tariffs are illegal, but left them in place while it plays out farther, and it could go to the highest court, the Supreme Court.
The tariff development is very interesting, because I think it's going to go to the Supreme Court, and I think the Supreme Court's going to throw it back to Congress and say, have the Republican Congress say okay, and then it'll go through, and that's going to be very interesting politics, I think, in the second half of this year.
Wharton professor Jeremy Siegel on CNBC. Google can keep its Chrome browser with restrictions. A judge has ruled that the company cannot enter any exclusive search deals. This was a case that could have forced the company to divest it. McDonald's is bringing back extra value meals next Monday. Consumers in America are struggling with inflation. So McDonald's will offer a $5 sausage McMuffin meal and an $8 Big Mac meal.
Particularly with middle and lower income consumers, they're feeling under a lot of pressure right now. I think there's a lot of commentary about what's the state of the economy, how's it doing, and what we see is it's really kind of a two-tier economy. If you're upper income, things are good. What we see with middle and lower income consumers is actually a different story. It's that consumers under a lot of pressure. In our industry, traffic for lower income consumers is down double digits.
That's McDonald's CEO Chris Kempczynski on CNBC. On today's watch list, we got a load of earnings from Macy's, Campbell's, Dollar Tree, Salesforce, American Eagle Outfitters, and Figma. We find out the latest on job creation with the JOLTS report on job opportunity and labor turnover. Tonight's Powerball jackpot, $1.3 billion, the fifth biggest in the history of that game.
That's a big one. CNBC's Jessica Ettinger. When we return on America in the Morning, mystery at the White House or AI hoax? After these messages. Welcome back. You're with America in the Morning. A second Republican senator has formally announced they will not seek another term in office. Washington correspondent Sagar Meghani reports.
Senate Republicans are facing a second unexpected retirement as they try to hold their majority. In Iowa,
I will not be seeking re-election in 2026.
Joni Ernst says she'll end a dozen-year Senate run after Iowans elected her in 2014 with a mission
to make Washington squeal. And I'm proud to say we have delivered.
Ernst joins North Carolina's Tom Tillis, who turned down a re-election bid after clashing with President Trump. Her move could have ripple effects on the GOP if Congresswoman Ashley Hinson runs for the Senate seat. Democrats are looking for chances to flip House seats in Iowa as they seek to regain the chamber's control. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
Trump says it's a fake. The president dismissed a bizarre viral video showing mystery objects being hurled from a White House window over the weekend, saying it would have been impossible since the People's House windows are sealed and bulletproof. During a press briefing, the question was asked about the numerous reports of things being tossed from what was believed to be the Lincoln bedroom and suggested the viral video was made by artificial intelligence. Trump also said each window weighs about 600 pounds, so you'd have to be pretty strong to open them up. America in the Morning for Wednesday, September 3rd, 2025 is produced by Jeff McKay. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One. This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. I'm John Trout. Coming up this half hour.
President Trump says U.S. Space Command will be based in Alabama.
Rocket City.
Sagar Meghani, Washington.
Tackling gun legislation in the wake of tragedy in Minnesota. I'm Clayton Neville.
More than 14,000 migrants have reversed course and headed south since President Trump took office. I'm Ben Thomas.
Hope from the Republican in the New York mayor's race. Robert Workman Sports and a Florida trial set to begin for an alleged assassin.
South Park is continuing to target the current administration with its latest episode. I'm Kevin Carr.
5 new cast members have been announced for season 51 of Saturday Night Live. I'm Ed Donahue.
Back after these messages. Here with America in the Morning. As summer wanes, we slide into some more potential severe weather today. Here's AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
After a days-long general lull in concentrated areas of organized severe weather, a powerful cold front shifting through portions of the nation's center and the Great Lakes region and slamming into warm and moderately moist air should be more than enough of a spark to produce at least some risk for thunderstorms that may reach severe limits from the eastern part of the Oklahoma Panhandle into northern Oklahoma and much of southern Kansas, through both the I-70 and I-44 corridors of Missouri toward the St. Louis metro area late this afternoon and into the evening hours. AccuWeather severe weather experts say that the main threats from these storms will be hail and localized damaging wind gusts of at least 55 to 65 miles per hour, but these storms may, of course, also bring some downpours. Showers extend to the north of that zone into eastern South Dakota, throughout the upper Midwest and into western lower Michigan, with the risk for thunder included from southern Iowa through the Chicago area. Other rather stormy areas of the country today include the Florida Peninsula, where a disturbance parked over the area continues to lead to higher coverage of showers and thunderstorms. More spotty coverage of mainly afternoon thunderstorms can be expected from Louisiana to northwestern Georgia, not all that different from Tuesday's setup, with showers and some storms a bit more likely at any time today from Tennessee to southern Ohio, and just about all of West Virginia, as a small-scale storm helps to increase activity within that zone. A heat wave continues over inland portions of the Northwest, where highs from Northern California and Nevada to Washington and Oregon reach 15 to 20 degrees above historical averages, threatening record highs and boosting the fire risk as drought conditions expand. Thunder showers may break out from southern Nevada to southern California and into portions of the Four Corners states. That's the weather across America. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
Remember to follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Simply search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. It was a busy Tuesday afternoon in the White House where President Trump and members of his cabinet highlighted a military strike against an alleged drug boat from Venezuela, plans for the deployment of the National Guard to Chicago and Baltimore, and also the health of the commander-in-chief. Washington correspondent Sagar Meghani reports the president also announced the decision for the U.S. Space Command to relocate from Colorado to Alabama.
President Trump says U.S. Space Command will be based in Alabama, reversing a Biden-era decision to put it in Colorado.
Those plans were wrongfully obstructed by the Biden administration, and as you know, they moved them to a different locale, and today we're moving forward with what we want to do and the place that we want to have this, and this will be there for hopefully hundreds of years. That's where it's going to be.
It's a long-expected decision, capping a 4-year fight between 2 states and 2 administrations. The president says SpaceCom will move from its temporary Colorado Springs headquarters to Huntsville.
The U.S. Space Command headquarters will move to the beautiful locale of a place called Huntsville, Alabama, forever to be known from this point forward as Rocket City.
While the Air Force 4 years ago identified Huntsville as the command's preferred locale, the Biden administration said it would stay in Colorado to avoid disrupting readiness. President Trump says Alabama's clearly the better pick, accusing Biden of playing politics, but then noting one reason for choosing Alabama.
Thank Colorado. The problem I have with Colorado, one of the big problems, they do mail-in voting. They went to all mail-in voting. So they have automatically crooked elections. And we can't have that. When a state is for mail-in voting, that means they want dishonest elections because that's what that means. So that played a big factor also.
Sagar Meghani, Washington.
Following last week's mass shooting in Minneapolis, lawmakers in Minnesota are expected to consider a potential ban on assault weapons in a special session promised by the governor. Following the story, correspondent Clayton Neville.
The call for a special session in Minnesota follows last week's mass shooting at Annunciation Catholic School that saw the shooter kill 2 elementary school students before shooting themselves. Now a demand to ban assault rifles and high-capacity magazines.
Protect kids, not guns. Love kids, not guns.
Community activists rallying for change.
Love kids, not guns. It's about the kids, not guns.
Organizers say the call for a ban extends beyond last week's school shooting and includes other gun violence in the city of Minneapolis.
It was multiple deaths within 24 hours, all with high-capacity rifles. So let me tell you, it's about the guns.
The leaders of that city doubling down on comments made last week about thoughts and prayers not being enough.
Prayers are necessary, but they are not adequate. Thoughts are necessary, but we've got to go even further to make sure that we love our children and our actions are standing behind that love. This is about our children.
Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry insisting on an assault weapons ban.
These, by the way, should not be controversial positions. We're not talking about your father's hunting rifle. We're talking about the ability to reel off 30 rounds without having to reload. The kind of guns that were literally created to pierce armor and kill people. We don't need those guns in our city.
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz says that he will call a special session on gun legislation. GOP House Speaker Lisa DeMuth responded, saying that Republicans are ready to protect students in schools. But she made clear that if Democrats are focused on partisan accusations, the special session will not be productive. I'm Clayton Neville.
Polls taken in New York City for mayor still show Socialist Democrat Zohran Mamdani with a solid lead as he challenges former Governor Andrew Cuomo, current Mayor Eric Adams, and Guardian Angels founder Curtis Sliwa. Correspondent Julie Walker reports Sliwa, the Republican, likes his chances in a crowded New York City mayor's race.
Curtis Sliwa, the red beret-wearing founder of New York City's Guardian Angels Anti-Crime Patrol Group and the former WABC talk radio host, is the Republican candidate for mayor again in the city.
If the people are good enough to elect me mayor November 4th,
I'll take the beret off for all time.
He lost to Democrat Eric Adams by almost 40 percentage points in 2021.
Can he win with votes? Well, if I start with 28% and I get it up to about 33, 34, in this scenario with 4 people running, 3 of whom are Democrats, you know, Zorhan obviously is very unique. He's way to the left. But then again, Cuomo and Adams, listen to the way they talk there, Zorhan light. I will be the alternative. And I know, I can feel it out there. My polls are going up.
The field includes Adams running as an independent, along with fellow Democrat Andrew Cuomo and the official Democratic nominee, Zohran Mamdani, who is leading. Sliwa is running on an anti-crime platform.
I'm actually a new figure in politics. But people know that I've been around for 46 years as leader of the Guardian Angels on talk radio for 35 years and always in the streets.
Julie Walker, New York.
Federal trial for Trump's would-be assassin. That and more when America in the Morning continues after these messages. Welcome back. You're with America in the Morning. The death toll from a massive earthquake and strong aftershocks in eastern Afghanistan has surpassed 1,400, with more than 3,000 people injured. Correspondent Charles de Ledesma reports the death toll is expected to rise as help is still trying to reach hard-hit areas.
Rough terrain is hampering rescue and relief efforts since Sunday's devastating earthquake in eastern Afghanistan, forcing the Taliban authorities to airdrop dozens of commandos to evacuate the injured from places where helicopters cannot land. An aftershock of 5.2 close to the epicenter has rattled the country, according to the US Geological Survey. But there have been no immediate reports of more damage. At a media briefing in Geneva, the UN's resident coordinator of Afghanistan, Injiko Ratwar, warns of a surge in casualty numbers.
Looking at the stats, looking at the remoteness and the topography, which is extremely challenging and remote, we think potentially the impacted individuals could go up to almost into the hundreds of thousands.
While urging the international community to step forward, Ratawat adds, we cannot afford to forget the people of Afghanistan who are facing multiple crises, multiple shocks, and the resilience of the communities has been saturated. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
A federal trial is soon set to begin for the alleged golf course assassin accused of attempting to kill President Trump last year in Florida. Correspondent Jennifer King is following details.
In Fort Pierce, Florida, trial preparations are underway for Ryan Ruth, the man charged with trying to assassinate President Trump on the golf course at Trump's West Palm Beach Country Club last year. Ruth has pleaded not guilty to charges of attempting to assassinate a major presidential candidate, assaulting a federal officer, and several firearm violations. He faces additional state charges. Judge Aileen Cannon signed off on Ruth's request to represent himself at a pretrial conference, but said that court-appointed attorneys need to remain as standby counsel. Prosecutors say Ruth plotted to kill Trump for weeks before he was spotted by a Secret Service agent aiming a rifle through the golf course shrubbery. The agent opened fire, Ruth dropped his weapon without firing and fled and was arrested not far away. In the early days of the war in Ukraine, he claims to have tried to volunteer to fight and recruit foreign soldiers, leaving messages that one Ukrainian military official described to CNN as delusional. Witnesses tell the Associated Press Ruth was a self-styled mercenary leader with plans to insert himself into conflicts around the world. I'm Jennifer King.
Talk on immigration has centered on ICE enforcement inside the United States and deportations. However, there's another aspect, those that are on their way to the southern border who are turning around before they get there. Correspondent Ben Thomas tells us about a United Nations report on a reverse flow of migrants through the Americas in recent months.
Colombia, Panama, and Costa Rica report more than 14,000 migrants who had been heading for the U.S. have reversed course and headed south since President Trump took office. This reverse flow attributed to stricter U.S. border policies. Migration through the treacherous Darien Gap on the Colombia-Panama border peaked in 2023 when more than 500,000 migrants crossed. It slowed somewhat in 2024, but almost completely dried up early this year. largely made up of Venezuelans fleeing their country's economic, social, and political crises. Some 97% said they were returning because they could no longer legally reach the U.S., with immigration policy no longer open to asylum seekers. Most who turned around said they plan to return to Venezuela. I'm Ben Thomas.
The Trump administration plans to appeal a federal judge's decision that their deployment of the National Guard and U.S. Marines to Los Angeles violated a rule prohibiting the military from carrying out domestic law enforcement. U.S. District Judge Charles Breyer in San Francisco said federal officials violated the Posse Comitatus Act, but his 52-page opinion does not apply to National Guard troops currently deployed in other cities. Under Breyer's order, troops would be blocked from carrying out arrests, apprehensions, searches, seizures, security patrols, and traffic control. The judge paused his ruling until next Friday to give the administration time to appeal it. Speaking at the White House, President Trump dismissed Breyer as, quote, a radical left judge. Anthropic AI builders of the Claude chatbot get a major cash injection, effectively doubling their net worth. Chuck Palm has details in today's Tech Report.
AI startup Anthropic has just skyrocketed to $183 billion valuation after a jaw-dropping $13 billion Series F fund rise, led by Iconic Capital. That's more than double its $61.5 billion price tag from March of this year, effectively shaking up the AI game. Anthropic is the brains behind the Claude chatbot, which saw its run rate revenue soar from $1 billion to over $5 billion in August, fueled by over 300,000 new business customers, including a 7-time spike in large accounts. With the cash injection backed by heavyweights like Fidelity, Lightspeed, and Amazon, Anthropic said that they are going to expand capacity to meet enterprise demand, deepen their safety research, and support global growth. The latest version, Claude 4.1, launched last month, and it's crushing the coding and reasoning skills, giving OpenAI and Google a run for their money. For more, follow me on X, @ChuckPalm.
Midweek sports on America in the Morning. Here's Robert Workman.
Baseball Tuesday, Ketel Marte broke open a tie game with a 3-run blast in the 7th as the Diamondbacks took down the Rangers 5-3. That ends a 6-game winning streak for Texas. Rays shaded the Mariners 6-5 for their 5th straight win. Junior Caminero hit his 40th homer of the season. Pirates down the Dodgers 9-7, but as is often the case, it was Shohei Ohtani making the headline, hitting his 100th Dodger dinger. He only got there last year. That's faster than anyone in franchise history. And did I say fast? It had an exit velocity of 120 miles per hour. Mets tamed the Tigers 12-5. Pete Alonso homered in the first. Then he and Juan Soto went back-to-back in the 7th.
We're doing a really good job of capitalizing on pitches in the zone. I think we're recognizing hanging breaking balls really well. I think we're doing damage on heaters.
George Springer went 3 for 4 with 2 taters as the Blue Jays overpowered the Reds. Yankees kicked some Astros. Trent Grisham with his 2nd grand slam in 5 days. Jazz Chisholm Jr. went deep twice. White Sox walloped the Twins, 2 round trippers and 5 ribbies for Andrew Benintendi. Cubs, Nationals, Red Sox, Giants, Cardinals, Orioles, and Angels were winners. College football, defending national champion Ohio State back on top of the polls after knocking off the preseason favorite Texas. At the U.S. Open, number 1 Arina Sabalenka got a walkover into the semifinals. She'll meet American 4-seed Jessica Pegula tomorrow. Friday's men's semis will feature number 2 Carlos Alcaraz and Novak Djokovic, who knocked out U.S. 4-seed Taylor Fritz last night. That's Wednesday Sports.
When we return on America in the Morning, among the stories we're covering, this is not your father's Saturday Night Live after these messages. Season 27 of television's animated South Park has taken direct aim at President Trump and members of his administration and has seemingly given the show a new lease on life. Entertainment reporter Kevin Carr has a preview of this week's new installment that focuses on tariffs.
In the midst of lost legal cases, a pending budget battle, and the unending demands for the release of the Epstein files, the Trump administration has another thing to worry about this week.
Wednesday! You guys, girls with Labubus, it's about to happen again! Tell her to stop saying my Labubus are knockoffs! What is a labubu?
Comedy Central's long-running animated series South Park is back with a new episode tonight, keeping up to date with the news and skewering politics in near real time. This episode focuses on the president's tariffs, and in particular how they get in the way of Butters buying his girlfriend a labubu doll. Since the debut of season 27, South Park has found new relevance by targeting the current administration. Unlike the first Trump presidency, the show directly and brutally lampoons the president, presenting him as they did Saddam Hussein in the 90s.
What are you, some kind of dictator from the Middle East?
A dictator from the Middle East? Hey, relax, guy. I'm gonna sue you.
Episode 2 of the series skewered Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem and ICE.
Remember, only detain the brown ones. If it's brown, it goes down.
And the third episode took aim at ChatGPT and the militarization of Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C. This seems like the perfect place for a towel.
This season of South Park is airing on a bi-weekly basis, giving the creators plenty of time to gather new satires on current events. South Park airs tonight at 10 p.m. on Comedy Central and the next day on Paramount+. I'm Kevin Carr.
Season 51 of Saturday Night Live will be very different from Season 50. Correspondent Ed Donahue reports on casting for the upcoming new year of the iconic weekend program.
5 new cast members have been announced for Season 51 of Saturday Night Live. Ben Marshall is moving from writer to featured player.
What's up, baby?
Did you eat your phone?
Did I eat my cell phone?
Marshall is the redhead in the digital shorts from Please Don't Destroy.
Is like a sad Ron Weasley. He looks like a big bird lost all his feathers.
Also joining the cast are Tommy Brennan, Jeremy Culhane, Cam Patterson, and Veronica Slowakowska. They have experience in stand-up comedy and viral videos. It's all part of an SNL shakeup. Devin Walker, Emil Joachim, and Michael Longfellow will not be back. Executive producer Lorne Michaels told Puck James Austin Johnson will definitely return.
People are saying that what I've done so far has single-handedly helped win people elections, mostly in Canada.
He plays President Trump. The 51st SNL season starts October 4th. I'm Ed Donahue.
America in the Morning for Wednesday, September 3rd, 2025 is produced by Jeff McKay. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One.